Good evening, everyone. I know the night is long. We had great speeches, presentations, introductions, ambassadors. And I'm going to take the intellectual level of the conversation several notches down. This is the second year that this event at Carnegie Hall brings back memories of my youth. So last year, I was the entertainment here. I was playing the accordion here because my father, Zichron Livracha, dreamed for me to play in Carnegie Hall. Not that I was worthy of it, but I was invited to play. And in Miami Beach, growing up in Miami Beach with the ambassador, with the Poter family, the Tammy Friedman, growing up in Miami Beach, Tuesday, everybody who grew up in Miami Beach, people knew that in Miami Beach Auditorium, Tuesday nights was boxing night and Wednesday night was wrestling night. Almost every Tuesday night, I used to go with my father to the Miami Beach Auditorium and watch the boxing matches. And then when I became a teenager, I mentioned to you before, I joined a boxing gym. In this boxing gym, there was famous fighters. When they would come down, they would train in the gym. It was owned by I think it was owned by the Dundee brothers. And there was a little old Jewish man, just like in the movie Rocky, there was a little old Jewish man, always with half a cigar in his mouth, chewing the same cigar the whole day, and everybody was terrified of this guy. And they had a sign, I'll never forget the sign, on the wall in the boxing gym that said, "If you spit on the floor, you're going to lick it up." And everybody was terrified of this little old Jewish man. Of course, I trained there, and he put me in a ring with one of the sparring partners from the other guys. The guy let me last a round and a half, broke my nose, and that was the end of my boxing career. So you would think that I'm here to introduce the champ, but I'm not introducing the champ. I'm introducing another champion and a prize fighter, Judge Jeanine Pirro. We all know Judge Jeanine. Judge Jeanine is a daughter of Lebanese immigrants with many accomplishments here as a prosecutor, as a judge, and has a great show on Fox, has been on Fox for over a decade. And we probably can't even imagine the amount of hate mail that she gets taking the positions that she takes, standing up for many issues, but especially issues that are close to us, Israel and anti-Semitism. So my mother was supposed to be here to introduce the judge, but she couldn't make it. And with that, I'd like to introduce Judge Jeanine Pirro, a real champ and prize fighter of Israel and the Jewish people.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm very humbled by this. I know the hour is late, and I'm going to have to take on Evander Holyfield before the night is over tonight because I'm the fighter that I thought he was introducing you. But that got a big laugh, didn't it? All right. I believe in Israel, and I believe in the state of Israel. It is, thank you. It is etched in my DNA. My mother, Esther, and my father, Nasser, met in Lebanon, and they were there at the time that the state of Israel was created in 1948, and my mom's family was political, and they helped people come into Israel, and they protected them on their way in. So you see, it is etched in my DNA. But more than that, it is really the words of Isaiah in 1:17 when he talks about the cornerstone of ethical Judeo-Christian values, that the Jewish values were meant to, 1, seek justice, 2, correct oppression, 3, bring justice to the fatherless, and 4, plead the widow's cause, Isaiah 1:7. And that's what I did for 32 years as a prosecutor. I fought for the underdog. I fought for the person who couldn't make themselves safe. I fought for the person who went to bed in their own bed and became the victim of unspeakable torture and abuse. I fought for the victims of hate crimes. I fought for a hate crime law. I started the first domestic violence unit in the nation. I started the first internet pedophile sting operation in the nation with a 100% conviction rate. I fought to make sure that the elderly weren't conned out of the last pennies that they had at the end of their years. So if you see, for me, fighting for the underdog has been my mission. And I lived by the words of Elie Wiesel. To do nothing helps the abuser, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. And so it didn't take long, after 32 years as a prosecutor, a judge, and a district attorney, to go into television. And instead of doing criminal justice, my wheelhouse, I did red meat politics. And it took me to a suspension. I didn't like Ilhan Omar. And I didn't like the way she was talking about Israel and the Jewish tropes and the Benjamins and the fact that that God needs to recognize the evil that is Israel. I didn't like that she supported the BDS movement. I didn't like that she said that the Jewish congressmen and women in Washington had dual loyalties. And so I spoke up. And I spoke up, and then I couldn't. But people in this country stood up for me. People that I never thought were even listening stood up for me. But it wasn't for me. It was for America. It was for our Judeo-Christian values. It was for who we are as a nation, who we ally with in the Middle East, the only democracy in the Middle East, Israel, who we decide and who we can rely on in this world where hate is hate, and hate leads to violence, violence leads to retaliation, and retaliation leads to community and world unrest. And so for me, the fight for Israel as a young Lebanese girl that was called camel jockey as a kid, it didn't matter. Because they were entitled to be there. They had a right to be there. God gave them that right. And after 2,000 years of being persecuted, it was time to end the persecution. I have worked with a lot of people in the military, both in my job as the district attorney and in my job now, and my friendship with the president. I know that Israel now has no stronger ally than the United States, that Israel can count on us and will continue to count on us for as long, at least, as President Trump is there. And I have spoken before friends of the Israeli Defense Forces, and I know many of the colonels and commanders in the IDF, and I know that in every IDF commander's office is a photograph of a flight of Israeli fighter planes in formation with the Star of David on that plane. And those fighter planes in formation are buzzing 50 feet above Auschwitz, above the crematoria, the earth shaking with the sound of the fury. But it wasn't just the breaking of the sound barrier by the fighter planes painted with the Star of David. It was the roar of 6 million holy souls rejoicing and shouting triumphantly, Yam Israel High, Am Yisrael High. Is there anyone in this room that has the slightest doubt that somehow were anything like what happened in World War II to happen again, that the United States wouldn't be there with Israel? Is there any doubt on anyone's part that we and the IDF wouldn't go around the world to stop that kind of Holocaust? No, it won't happen again. As long as we recognize the importance of Israel, as long as we stay strong, and as long as we recognize that we can no longer remain silent, that we can't be namby-pambies, that we can't be politically correct, and in the end, we have to make sure that those who seek to destroy and harm other people are stopped forever. Thank you for this wonderful honor. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our final award of the evening, please welcome